I'm going to continue looking through the cards that I have in my selection to expand the Selesnya Guild Kit deck out into a commander build. The Guild Kit deck itself is already really good. It contains the money card of the entire 5 Guild Kits, and which happens to be the enchantment privilege position, which makes everything you own hexproof of non-permanence. But there are many other cards as well in this deck, so anyways. So here I have more of the white-green cards. Some are from Return to Ravnica, and then others are from other sets or blocks. 3-drop 2/3 with Vigilance, so when it comes in, I'm sorry, when it deals, this is not support, this is Renown. I always get it confused. So Renown, when it deals combat damage, if it doesn't have any counters, it gets counters. Pretty cool enchantment, gives the creature +2/+2 trample and lifelink. Create a token, gain 2 life for each creature you control. Both you're going to be on in this deck. Gain a ton of life. I used to do combine this with a Worm that I think was in the M13 or M14 that got as many counters as you gain life that turn, but we're not doing that here. I wish I could dig that card out of somewhere. I know I have it. Put counters. Boost your creature so it's an overrun effect. As an enchantment. That's very important. It's as big as the number of creatures you control. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get to reproduce one of your tokens. Just a big critter, 7/8/8 with Vigilance. Another big critter, 7/4/6, and each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. That could be good. 4/2/1, and when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, and you can drag a creature or an enchantment out of it to your hand. And then the others don't go into the graveyard, which is very important. You're not on a graveyard theme in here. You don't want anything dropping in your graveyard from one of these look at top X cards of your deck. For 5, prevent a board wipe. So all creatures you control, you untap them. They gain hexproof and indestructible. I mean, you know, like, it really gets around a lot of board wipes. A Convoke that I think it's a little heavy. It's got a 2 mana tax on it. But if you've got a really large amount of mana, it'll get very big and you won't care about paying the 2 extra mana. A 3/2/2 that creates a token for a very heavy price for 5. That's a really heavy cost to create a token. You'd have to have a lot of mana just laying around. And it does get +1/+1 for each creature tapped this way. So how do you tap them? You may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. So if you've got creatures that cannot attack because they're too small, you can tap them and then use them for this. Then the 2 double-sided cards, double cards from Ravnica 3. Go search a land and do a battle trick for 6. You're never going to do this. Put a counter, target creature, gains indestructible, so you're protecting something at instant speed. And then tokenizer, I don't know, looks heavy, but it is a tokenizer, that's pretty good. Okay, so that was my first pile. I haven't seen anything that clearly does not belong in the deck. And this stuff really is I think, one of my primary piles. My Enters the Battlefield Panharmonicon selection. But I'm going to go through my enchantment selection first, because I think the biggest thing in this deck is after tokens and life gain, some mild life gain, not a lot, is enchantments. So this critter, enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you draw a card. Enchantment creature. It's an enchantment, so this is why it's in this pile, with flash. A little heavy, but creatures you control get +2/+2. Enchant one of your critters and leave it with a bunch of counters out of Theros. Whenever you tap a land, add 1 mana, so it's going to boost your mana incredibly. It's an enchantment. Another enchantment, this one's an aura, and then it's just for getting some mana out of a land, more than it would generate. You're on big critters, so if you drop this, you're going to draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep. So it draws you an extra card. Flash, enchantment creature, and you can bestow it on something. It's aggro, 4/2, very good critter. Another enchant land for mana. Enchant creature, and because of a little boost. Enchant creature, and it cannot block, and it takes out its activated abilities, but it can still attack. But it's lighter than a pacifism. Then a battle cruiser pacifism, something that gets your critter boosted because you're on enchantments. A death and taxes effect on an enchantment creature. Temporary exile. Okay, for a lot of permanents. Right, that's the key word here. Target non-land permanent. Major hoser, so that people don't attack you. It's kind of like more for a prison deck, but it's a great card, and I've played it a lot. Another enchantment. This one frees up some, allows you some flexibility with mana. Hopefully in the early game, if it comes out early game. And then counters with an enchantment. An enchantment that gets you green mana, Gaia's Cradle for the number of creatures you control. They're all enchantments. Give something flying, lifelink, vigilance. It's an enchantment again. Major graveyard hoster, and as I was mentioning before in the previous video, I'm slowly bringing in other cards that I have laying around that I never use in builds. This is definitely one that belongs in this deck. An enchantment that buffs your critters, and when something attacks you, you can destroy that creature if you've got the mana available. Another pacifism effect, and pacifism itself. So these are really cards that are very high on the list for getting into the deck. Then, of course, second to them would be the Panharmonicon selection. So what does Panharmonicon do? It doubles all your ETB triggers. It's fantastic. So these are various cards with ETB triggers. This one explores. This one lets you get a land out of the top 4 cards of your library. You draw an extra card, means you draw 2 cards. You would destroy not just 1, but as many as 2, either artifact or enchantments. Temporary exile with flash. Also temporary exile with flash, enchantment, bing, bing, bing. More temporary exile effects. These are all temporary exilers of various types. Pulling the O-ring and banishing light. Then Restoration Angel, because you're an ETB, and so you can come in and trigger the ETB again. So if Panharmonicon is on your field, you can get it 4 times if you play Restoration Angel. Very good card, of course. Another temporary exiler, but on a creature. You can destroy target artifact. If Panharmonicon is on the field, you can destroy 2 artifacts when this enters the battlefield. This draws a card anytime an enchantment enters the battlefield. So again, if Panharmonicon is on the field, it's going to draw you 2 cards instead of 1. This card lands you an extra land. It'll land you 2 extra lands with Panharmonicon. And support 3, so it puts 3 counters. A +1/+1 counter each on up to 3 other creatures. You'll get to do it twice with Panharmonicon. And then a boost a boost trick, battle trick with flying. Okay, so that was the Panharmonicon pile, and the enchantments pile. Then we got a bunch of angels, which I think would make the deck really powerful. For 6, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. It's a counter, and it's not until end of turn, so it's really good. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. That's really good. Another angel, flyer, 6/5/5. Give something else indestructible, as long as you control this. Flying, first strike, and lifelink, and lords your other angels. Flying, vigilance, and other creatures you control have vigilance. Sarah Angel, which requires no introduction, from limited edition alpha. A flyer angel with mentor. Okay, so those are the angels. Then there's lifelink throughout the deck, so I would definitely put in a Johnny's Primate and this enchantment. I'm on enchantments and I'm on life gain, and this enchantment will create a tokens with lifelink. So I mean, it's just combo heaven. Then I thought about mentioning these, but I think they're not going to go in. Tutor for a vampire. Yes, this guy does have lifelink, so I may keep it, but I'm not going to care for tutoring for it. And then another vampire that has flying as long as you have the city's blessing. I'm not sure. A flying vampire. A token maker, that may be good. Then create a token. It replaces itself with a token. That's a good thing. Okay, so those are my vampires. White vampires from Ixalan. Then a bunch of dinosaurs and dinosaur spells. And I may forego the fact that they're dinosaurs and just put a few of these in, just because I need big critters, and they are very good big critters. Reveal a dinosaur card from your hand. The odds of this happening are low, so I'm going to really actually not consider it. And gets +2/+2 as long as you control a dinosaur. Not going to happen a lot. Sack it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's pretty good. Very good critter. I don't have any enraged triggers, but it can get enraged from the battling, so that's really good. This guy is fantastic. And luckily it's in a precon that you can find a target, which is great. I love it when Wizards does that. This guy is also really, really good. Trample, hexproof. Creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. That's a great Death and Taxes effect. Double striker, big critter, and when it attacks other creatures you control, gain double strike until end of turn. That's very powerful. So whenever this or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. That's really good when you have Panharmonicon on the field. I believe that will trigger twice. Anybody who knows the rules better than I do can check on me, but I think this is a double trigger with Panharmonicon. Okay, so I'm going to stop right here, and so clearly I found 2 cards that I think there's no way in hell that I'm going to put in the build already. And that's video 2. And so in video 3 for the cards, I usually don't go into video 3, but I love this theme, and I've built many enchantment matters, token matters, go wide decks before, so I guess that's the reason why I picked so many things that I wanted to be into here. Then in the next video I'm going to talk about the green things that green cards do, white things that white cards do, and then I'm going to go through the artifacts.